here with Stella, and we're going to be doing our last review before Stella goes home today. And we want to go over everything that we went over during boot camp. And of course, when you're working with Stella, always remember that when you're working on things that she may have a problem with, such as maybe she doesn't heel all the time, always remember that if there are more distractions around, it's going to be harder for her to learn. So the less distractions, the better. Cement those commands, make sure she knows them front to back before you really start to introduce her to different situations. And of course, because she's a puppy, she gets tired a little bit easier, so watch your exercise with her before you take her out and try to work with her, especially if it's a little bit hot outside. It's going to make it more difficult for her to focus and things like that. And of course, if you work on training before breakfast or something like that, so she's a little bit hungry, she's motivated. Stella. Okay, so one of the first things that I worked on was the come. We want to build drive to get her motivated to come to us. And you don't have to have treats all the time, but of course, little snacky things are helpful in inviting your dog to come to you. And when we ask her to come, always make sure we start off on the leash here. We want to make sure that we have complete control over Stella at all times. And when we ask her to come, we're going to be really excited. We can get to her level, ask her to come to us, open arms. You want to make sure that she's very excited to come to you. So in the event that maybe she gets a little bit farther away than you planned, you're upset about it, you want to remember when you ask her to come to you, you need to be very excited. Make sure it's always a pleasant experience for her to come to you. And if you're building drive, this is something to do. You can actually have a pretty good bond with your dog by just building drive in recall. I'm going to do this with no treats right now. Stella. That's all it took. You want to make sure when you're asking her to come, you can kind of lead her to you using your leash and be very excited. You can also do that with food. Don't give it to her all the time. Surprise her occasionally. Stella, come. Come. Good girl. So always work on your come with the leash attached to Stella. And until we're comfortable with having her off leash, meaning that we know that she's not going to go say hi to someone, or she's not going to sniff this or that, she's going to come to us every single time. It's always better safe than sorry to have her on a leash. And even if you get the long training leashes, 15, 20, 30 feet, it's always good training material. So she hears some food over there. She's very excited right now. Okay, so when we're reinforcing our commands, something just as simple as sit. Every single time Stella sits down, we're going to reinforce it. Yes, good, sit, Stella. This is going to be the last thing that she remembers in regards to the command. Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take her out of this environment. She's a little too focused on what's going on back there. And if it's okay with our camera woman, we'll go take a quick little trot around. We'll practice our heel. And when we do our heel, we want to make sure we slap our leg. We want to give some kind of sound, get her attention off of whatever may be going on over there, back onto us. So remember, asking her to heel, Stella heel, slap your leg, and start walking. And try to take as many turns as possible. We want to make sure that she's pretty sharp in remembering exactly what's going on, that she's supposed to be healing and not just wandering around by our side. Okay, so when you're turning, if you turn and she's on your left-hand side, maybe she gets ahead of you a little bit of the time, all you're going to do is stop her. So you're going to put your whole leg literally in front of Stella as you're walking, as you're turning, and she's going to have no choice but to go back to that heel position. So instead of using your leash a lot, trying to show her where to go, correcting her, don't even bother doing that. All you're going to do is use your own body against Stella, and she's going to go right back into that heel position. And also another alternative for that is to completely walk in the opposite direction, and Stella will have no choice but to follow you. Okay, so stay is so important. You want to make sure that Stella can follow through with the stay no matter how long she may be there, what's going on, how she's feeling, how you're feeling. You want to make sure she stays. And it's very important, especially if you're out in the world, there are cars and people everywhere. Trusting her in that stay, very, very important. And when we ask her to stay, specifically, we'll do like a down stay right now. Have her lay down, and because she understands both of those commands individually, it's easier for her to comprehend what we're asking her to do. So we have her in the down position. Good. Down, and now we're going to ask her down stay. Down stay. Now it's a very specific type of stay. We want to have her in this stay if we have her outside, we're eating or whatever. Stella's going to be in a down stay. If you have her do a sit stay, that's something that's going to take a lot more energy out of her. And if she's going to be in that stay for a while, it'll be more comfortable to have her change into a down stay. When you put the leash down, when you ask her to lay down, and we want to make that into a stay, first of all, a down would be the leash presented in front of the dog, or you could use your hand and the leash in this motion, a downward motion. And if you're asking her to stay, we would leave the leash straight. So every single time we ask her to stay, the leash is going to be in this straight position. When we're starting off with learning how to stay, we do it baby steps. So we're going to be right up next to Stella, asking her to stay. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Good stay. You can go in and reward her. And slowly get farther and farther back. You're going to reach the end of your leash. And by the time you reach this, it's going to be in a straight position. And so that's going to signify stay. So every single time you ask her to stay, remember to put your leash right in front of Stella. And building up the distractions in regards to her in the stay position. Start off at home, in the backyard, if you're feeling adventurous, and ask her to stay and really limit those distractions. Try to make them as small as possible. And when she does follow through with the command, when she stays, at that point, you can go right in, give her affection or a treat reward. Good stay. And if you notice that she may be uncomfortable around something, let's say a large truck, and you're asking her to do her commands with that distraction, start from a greater distance. Make sure you're watching Stella's body language to see what she's comfortable with. We want to desensitize her to as many things as possible, but at the same time we want to make sure that she's having a positive experience from that training. Right, and here's something that we want to make sure all of our puppies know is sit and down. They need to go between these two commands very fluidly. So if you're working on this at home, good girl, she already knows what's going on. Use your leash if she does not sit up when you ask her to. Sit. Good girl. Yeah. she's successfully in the down position, marking that behavior good or yes. And then at this point in time, we're going to ask her to sit up. And it's very difficult, especially if they're already in the down position, they're nice and comfortable. It's going to be difficult for them to sit up. So if you have your lead right at the top of her neck, you don't want to present a treat right in front of her face at this point in time, but if you need to, you can. And she jumped the gun there. Let's try that one more time. Good. Okay, so leash at the top part of the neck. Sit. Good. Sit. Good. Good. Down. Good. Good. That was very, very good. Work on these really small, simple commands all the time. Make sure that she works for everything. You don't want to have her get anything for free. And I know she's a really cute little ball of fluff, but having your dog get whatever they want without having them work for it, definitely going to make her into a very, very ornery, stubborn girl. So we don't want any of that. We want to make sure that she works for everything. And I did teach her a couple of tricks. I'm not sure if you guys have worked on shake. It seems that she has before. But having that command, something nice for her to use when interacting with other people. So having her sit nicely, asking her to shake. Asking her to shake. Good, shake. And at this point in time, we're able to touch her paws all over. This is going to help us desensitize her to people touching all over her paws, her face, and her ears, her little eyes. Good shake. Good shake, good girl. And then another one that we went over was crawl, which is just a cute little trick. Doesn't really have a purpose other than it being cute. You're going to have your treat in your hand here and use your 2 fingers. I'm going to place them right in front of Stella and ask her to crawl. Tap the ground. Crawl. Good girl. Good crawl. Good girl. Good girl. But she's very smart, as obviously you know, and she picks up very quickly, but always make sure that you review everything, making sure again that she's working for everything. Have her stay, wait for things, make her be patient, make sure that she is calm before you go inside or exit an area. And it's been a great time here with Stella. I look forward to seeing her again. And of course, contact me if you have any questions in regards to the training. We will see you later. Bye.